The Media Project. Imagine a vibrant region that embraces innovative technology and systems, allowing individuals and businesses to grow and thrive within the natural and cultural lifestyle of Vermont. Imagine the Black River Innovation Campus. Our community includes business and technology programming, co-working and technology tools, and other exciting experiences that are quickly creating an outsized impact to our little corner of northern New England here in Springfield, Vermont. PC Mag rates Springfield, Vermont number 8 for the best work-from-home cities in the U.S. Join us in Vermont. Begin your journey at bricvt.org. It was so interesting to talk with pianist David Haney. Based in Portland, Oregon, David travels often to New York City to perform at Joe's Pub. Since 2012, he's been the publisher and contributing editor of Cadence Magazine Online. In this two-part interview, we listen to performances of improvised compositions featuring David and his friends. David discusses how he became publisher of Cadence Magazine Online. Learn more about Cadence Magazine at cadencejazzworld.com. And now, enjoy the show.
This is David Haney inviting you to join me in the Jazz Room with host Joan Watson Jones.
Welcome to the Jazz Room. I'm your host, Joan Watson Jones. Thanks for stopping by. Come in, relax while we enjoy great jazz. Each week we present the music of independent jazz artists as well as those we've grown to love through the years. And yes, of course, the legends. We open with the music of our guest, pianist David Haney, a renowned musician and publisher of Cadence Magazine Online. We'll talk about his music, jazz stories, and how he became publisher of Cadence Magazine Online. Right now, you're listening to At Joe's Pub. Enjoy. Welcome to the Jazz Room, David Haney. Thank you for joining me all the way in the West Coast. Where are you?
I'm in Portland, Oregon, in a super secret location.
A super secret location. It also sounds like a sneaky place that happens to be north of us in Maine.
Well, actually, I'm over on the West Coast, but it sounds like I'm in so many different places. Where is Portland, you know?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you, I've listened to a lot of your tracks that you sent me, and I really liked At Joe's Pub, and people just heard just At Joe's Pub. And before we talk about you, could you tell us a little about the musicians and the piece you played and so on? Tell us about it.
Right. Okay, sure. I'd be happy to do that. Let's see, the Joe's Pub music is all a part of a residency that has gone on since 2017 to present other people's stories. They're called Jazz Stories, New York Jazz Stories, and it's a collection through Cadence Magazine of short anecdotes, and they're put to music. So this was the show features a guest. Let me rephrase that. Features Bernard Purdie every show, unless he's off doing something and can't make it. So it's kind of built around Bernard Purdie on drums, and Adam Lane is the bassist, and then we build from that. Our very first show, Bernard couldn't make it, so we had something called Billy's Birthday Bash, and invited Billy Martin to come and sit in for him. So that was the very first one. I think that was 2016.
Where is Joe's Pub?
Joe's Pub is on Lafayette Street in Astor Place in Lower Manhattan, in New York.
Okay, so you are a bi-coastal person in the sense you come over here every now and then.
I do. I come over there. I at one point realized that most of my friends are over there that I play with. They might not have started there, but they're there. And I used to travel a lot more, but I ended up just staying in New York and developing a, kind of relationship, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
So I love playing there. I love the whole thing, I come back home and I'm a grandpa. I have 4 grandkids and I have kids and projects and stuff. And it's nice, people that I play with sometimes, Daniel Carter said this to me, that people on the West Coast seem to be more like they're more spread out or something, there's the buildings aren't all jammed together and the sound, where it's in the music and maybe how I think and talk. And he appreciated that, he said it left a lot of spaces for him to apply music to when he improvised. And it's funny because I feel the opposite, I come and it's so great to be in the thick of it and to have all this vibrant thought, so.
Interesting how someone could hear the mute, how California, the West Coast because the West Coast is more spread out.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't think that
I get it. No, I do.
How far your houses are apart makes a difference in how the music sounds or how you behave.
You're listening now to Phantom Melodies, number 2, 12 bars.
The Vermont Technology Alliance. The VTTA is the only statewide organization focused on Vermont's tech business sector and entrepreneurs. Our business members are Fortune 500 companies, startup founders, small business owners, and soloists. We provide advocacy, recruiting of tech talent, events, and other networking opportunities. We are the heart of the tech ecosystem in Vermont. Become a member now at vtta.org. The Vermont Technology Alliance. Tech thrives here.
You're in the Jazz Room. I'm your host, Joan Watson Jones. We continue with our interview with pianist David Haney.
Yeah.
Now a bit about you.
Yeah.
When did music first discover you?
I hear stories of me just crawling over to the piano and pounding on it. I don't remember that, but my mother was an oil painter and also a pianist, and she used to put classical music on while I was playing. And so I'd start to associate like play with sort of choreography, right? Like, okay, no, we have to have this music on to play this kind of thing. And I think that's what got me going. I was probably 4 years old. And she used to put on Arthur Fiedler's Boston Pops, the William Tell Overture. And I think the thing is, it connects to the Lone Ranger on television, which people
Yes.
were nuts about, right? So I was crazy about television. I loved television as a little tiny kid. And you'd hear a lot of music when we were little. There was a lot more classical music, and it was a lot more soothing. And that's when music found me. It found me, and yeah, you're right. And just, I kind of never looked back. The first chance to take lessons, I did. And I've never been the same since. I've tried, but, to no avail. It's music. When it gets you, you can't go back.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I do understand. Now,
Yeah.
what has been some of the best things that have happened to you, because you've had a long career and there's so many things? What jumps
Yes.
out at you
Um,
for special moments, say?
Well, I think the best thing, honestly, that happened to me was when I moved to Portland. I'd lived in New Orleans before that, and I heard such great music. It really kind of was like a shot in the arm. You can keep going, I was really young, and I didn't have a clue what to do, but I heard such good music. And I'd lived in San Francisco before that for a little bit, And that was hit or miss, frankly. The music was either good or not good. And New Orleans was just a different level. It was just, and these were local. They called them local musicians, the Meters and Professor Longhair and Alan Toussaint and the Nevilles. They were local bands. You're saying, how is this a local band? These are the best bands on earth, right? So when I moved to Portland, I thought I should know something. So I started studying at university. I started music theory. I studied music theory. And the jazz pianist that I was taking lessons from at one point said, I have to stop teaching you. I said, well, why is that? He says, because I like everything that you're writing. And I can't help you. I can't provide critical analysis to you because I like your stuff so much. He liked it better than I did. So he turned me on to somebody, a Czech composer. Actually, he said I should go to school. So I was going to go to school for composition. And the counselor, they're called, dissuaded me, actually. Said, if you just want to compose, you don't want to teach, right? No, I don't want to teach. You don't want to do this for a living. As far as you should study privately. He sensed that I should do that, and he hooked me up with what I consider one of the best composers on earth. That this guy, by age 8, was writing, and by age 15, the National Symphony of Slovakian, it was Czechoslovakia back then, was performing his work. I studied for 5 years with him in his living room once a week. And we would we'd either watch him compose, or he would help me with analyze what I'm doing, or we would talk. And that information carried me back into improvisation and into jazz, right? I got tired of composing. I felt the way I was doing it was too solitary. I was interested more in the composition than the performance. And after so many years, I gave up. I thought, look, I can't live this way. It's too, what I had found perfect for raising kids. I didn't want to go out in the club world as I raised 4 children. So composing was perfect. But at a certain point, I needed to connect with the community. That's a healthy part. You get starved. Your brain will shrink, I think, if you can't, you can't get up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at that. So I really had to do this, what they call instant composing. It's just jamming. You go on stage and you just play, right? And I found everything I learned from composing, all the tricks that this guy had taught me over 5 years, it just worked perfectly. And when you're improvising, as far as adding variety, making it sound fresh, all that stuff. So I think studying, it's a long answer, but I think studying with a composition teacher was the best thing I could have ever done.
What was your
Tomas Svoboda, Svoboda. And people should, you can Google on YouTube, I'm sure his stuff. It's amazing, amazing music. He was into percussion as well as piano. I'm a pianist. And yeah. I learned that to really think of piano as a percussion instrument, and just don't worry about,
when
melody.
I was teaching elementary music, piano was part of the percussion family.
It's part of the percussion. It should be.
Yeah. It was. When I was teaching school. Yeah. It's part of it. Well.
Interesting.
It's so interesting. Now we're going to have another piece. It's called Valse Macabre.
Okay.
And I'd like anything you'd like to say about that, because it has a classical influence for me.
Right. Okay. Valse Macabre was a recording. This is a piece written by Herbie Nichols. It was Herbie Nichols was sort of, they call him a hard bop composer, whatever that means. And he wrote in the 50s and the early 60s. He died in 1963 of leukemia, so his career was cut short. But he has three great albums on Blue Note that he did with Max Roach and Art Blakey. He had his chance, and he. So this is a piece that he wrote later in life, and it came out on Roswell Rudd was a good friend of his, and he did some of his later stuff, 27 later tunes. So that's the tune, and it features Buell Neidlinger on bass, who knew Herbie Nichols. He lived 5 blocks from him.
Oh my!
And when I told Buell how to play it, he says, "Don't tell me how to play Herbie Nichols. I live 5 blocks from him." So it was a little testy, but we got through it. And Julian Priester is playing trombone on it. No piano, I'm not playing on it. I did add some lyrics to it, so I'm sort of talking over it. And it's the lyrics to a song that my mom thinks this was based on. I played this for my mom once, and she thought it was based on a really old song.
Yeah, so, that I did notice you were reading a poem. It's a song. Is that part of your jazz stories, or
no, not at all. This was a one-off that we did in 2002 in Seattle. We recorded an album of improvised music, and this was just sort of a, well, can we do this? We have some time left over, right? And so, sometimes the best stuff is after you've prepared all the good stuff, everything you have in your mind.
Yes,
prepare,
I know.
And you look at the clock and you say, what, there's 10 minutes left. What do you want to do?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's your favorite piece all of a sudden.
Oh, I really enjoyed that piece. So let's listen now to Valse Macabre.
Last night, as I lie sleeping, I dreamt of you. We were together in some way off, crazy, far gone place. And the light shining on your face. Last night in my room, I dreamt about you. And it was so real, I tell you, as real as this is now.
come to the end of another show. Thank you for spending time here with us in the Jazz Room. Coming up in part 2 of our interview with David Haney, he'll tell us how he became the publisher and contributing editor of Cadence Magazine Online.
Breaking Housing Matters is a national housing initiative designed to build housing profitably. It is a first-of-its-kind initiative currently being piloted in Vermont, USA. BHM brings multiple key stakeholders from the housing development ecosystem together to solve the dual issues of affordability and profitability. Participate in an all ships rise approach designed by a multiplicity of internationally recognized experts in development, economics, housing, and governance. Learn more and purchase the book Custom Made Housing for a New World Disorder by BHM founder Peter DeCrassel at breakinghousingmatters.org. Press and program inquiries should please contact our agent at scott@smgravesassociates.com.
This is David Haney inviting you to join me in the Jazz Room with host Joan Watson Jones.
Hello, welcome to the Jazz Room. I'm your host, Joan Watson Jones. Thanks for stopping by. Come in, relax while we enjoy great jazz. Each week we present the music of independent jazz artists, as well as those we've grown to love through the years. And yes, of course, the legends. We open with the music of our guest, pianist David Haney. A renowned musician, he's also publisher of Cadence Magazine Online. In this part 2 of our interview with David, we'll talk about when he became the publisher and contributing editor of this online magazine. Right now, you're listening to Jorge and Andrew Improv, featuring Andrew Cyril on drums, Jorge Sylvester on sax, and Adam Lane on bass. Enjoy. David, when and how did you become publisher and contributing editor of Cadence Magazine Online? I want to hear all about this now.
Okay.
I've known Cadence for a long time.
Okay. Well, I took over, I guess, for lack of a better term, in 2012. In 2011, I had a subscription to Cadence, and they published with it was quarterly at the time, and each issue at the front page, they had a little circle and it said 3 issues, 2 issues. It was a countdown to the final publication. After 38 years, they were going to cease publication. And then it said underneath, unless they found somebody to step in, they sort of left the door open with whatever they said. So that kind of stuck in my mind for months. And my relationship with Cadence has gone back to 2000. They've recorded over 15 albums of my music. So I know them. I would go out yearly from Portland up to upstate New York and record at, they don't have a piano at the farm where they normally record albums. So we would go up to the University of Canton in Lawrence, New York, which is right on the border. I think that's right. University of Canton. It's in Canton, University of St. Lawrence. Anyway, I knew them quite well. They knew me well, which was more key. That at a certain point, I thought, I am a publisher. I'm a composer, but to make ends meet, I used my compositions to create a publishing system. I published a magazine for years called the Liturgy Planner, and it helps churches choose appropriate music for each Sunday. It makes you look very smart when you're. Anyway, so I had a background in periodical maintenance, new subscription, all the issues that are involved in publishing a periodical. I'd done that for 30 years. So I thought, I'm going to feel so stupid, frankly, if I don't at least try this. I don't expect to succeed, but I know I'll regret it if I don't do it. So that was my motivation. And they told me I was out of my mind, that I shouldn't do it. It was, kind of, they felt that all the material in Cadence, maybe you could find online now anyway. The market was changing. Well, they had a lot of stuff. I think they were tired, frankly. They'd done it a long time. And so they initially said no. And I developed just a good offer to them. I said, look, I'll do it in print once a year as a 300-page, just nicely bound book of the whole year. We'll do 4 issues online, and I'll take all that together. And so we'll have best of both worlds. It'll still be in print, and we can take advantage of online, digital. So after trying to dissuade me, they said okay, and I was up there recording a few albums at the time, and I signed a contract and I paid them $1. So I had to buy it, but I paid $1. And
My goodness.
yeah, so I didn't know what I had inherited, frankly. I think I had inherited the name only. So it was a little tricky. I went through a period of confusion until all the dust settled and all the writers contacted me and said, we're ready to go. And in the meantime, I had interviewed 60. In a few months, I had interviewed 60 jazz artists like Sonny Rollins and Annie Ross. And I had a wish list of all the people that I had always wanted to interview. And now I was the guy, so I thought, I'm going to do this.
Might as well.
Yeah, and I did. And it was the basis of the Jazz Stories project, because I added a segment where I just wanted to ask the artist to recount a turning point in their.
This piece is titled Phantom Melodies Number 2. David Haney on synth this time, and David Storrs on trombone. You're in the jazz room. I'm your host, Joan Watson Jones.
Cadence Online.
We continue with our interview with pianist David Haney.
CadenceJazzWorld.com.
CadenceJazzWorld.com.
And
So
that'll put
even
you
while
into.
people are listening right now, they can go online and they could see, and there are the interviews. Do you conduct the interviews, or do other people conduct the interviews?
I don't conduct the interviews. After that first 6 months of uncertainty and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I realized I don't have to do anything. Anything. It's like Cadence is like a beast that gets up and sort of walks on its own. You know, if I don't, like, I always worry, well, what's the content of the next issue going to be? And, you know, there are so many people working on things, and they know Cadence is interested in serious academic work as well, you know, as well as contemporary, like somebody's touring or whatever, right? So I have a handful of people that I'm thinking, boy, here's an interview that they've submitted, you know, and in 10 years, I haven't had to worry about content.
Yeah.
I have some writers, and so I don't do the interviews. What I do is farm out the assignments to people who write reviews. So as people send us CDs to be reviewed, I have someone else that we listen to them, and if we think certain writers, they all have their area they want to write about, maybe traditional or more, you know, whatever. So I kind of do that. I sort of make assignments, and I have to be very careful. If you don't make a good assignment for a writer, they'll quit writing. You know?
Yeah, I understand that.
So
Yeah.
I kind of, that's important to me, is to make sure the writers are still interested. But the interviews kind of come from people like Ken Weiss is a doctor in Philadelphia that's also a great writer, photographer. He covers a lot of stuff. Let's see. Bill Donaldson has interviews from years ago that we're starting to. Judah Hutt is somebody that we're running an interview this next issue. So I have people that I know, but it's still kind of come out of the woodwork to me and say, yeah, I have this piece finished now. I'm thinking, good, because we have to go to, go into press soon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. It's so interesting to see how you were able to take the magazine into this century.
Yeah. It's been waiting. It sort of, it holds so much information. They collected so much data, as far as the interviews that Cadence did since, I think they started in 1970 something, 76.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I don't unfortunately have access to back issues before 2012. But just in that time, the amount of anecdotal history is just incredible. Anyway.
Well, what's your vision for? Are you going to continue in this way, or does it keep evolving? In other words, as times change?
It's definitely evolving. The things that I did were no-brainers, right? Like to make a digital version, to make an online, that's just, that's a no-brainer. I have felt that I sort of reached my maximum ability pretty quick on the innovative aspect of what I could bring to it. That it was going to take either someone smarter than me or me getting smarter to see what the next level even is.
Yeah.
And I have seen it. I know what it is now. And I think I do. I mean, who really knows? But I can tell you where I think it's going. With this analogy, there's a writer, Elmore Leonard, and he wrote what became the movie Get Shorty. I think he wrote Westerns, but he also wrote a lot of mob books, right? I remember maybe the Atlantic or some newspaper or magazine wrote an article called Elmore's Legs. And the idea was that there was somebody named, he was paying, he had people in the crime world that were willing to share information, anecdotal stories about people for the purpose of good fiction, to keep fiction right on. You're going to write about the mob. You want somebody in the mob to verify that the details are correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be the future of storytelling and cadence and what it's trying to do. And that, like right now, we're working on developing scripts for a movie. We have a couple of series that we're working on, and we're taking the word right out of the horse's mouth, the stories from people, and integrating them into different formats. Just like a writer might take this information they took from their crime friend, that's in the business.
Yeah.
I seem to be, and I'm not the only one, but in a position of having a lot of that info that verifies what it was like for people. I can write something and act like I know something, but it's much more interesting to hear if you're going to write about, I have a project about John Coltrane right now, and it's a feature-length story, and I've been able to go through the people that knew him and were affected by him and include that information, not just to learn about it and then write my own opinion, but word for word in the script to take Eddie Gale has stories about when he first played with John Coltrane, right? You've got these different experiences where you're now sharing the words of Cecil Taylor. You're actually sharing their physical words in a creative way that sort of elevates the art form. It makes, like, maybe people watch crime shows because they're very realistic. Well, they've paid for that realism. They have experts, ex-detectives that work on these shows to make. We could do this in the art world, in music and stuff. Right now, it's just sort of used without any, I don't know. But that, you see, that's kind of where I think these things can be headed, in a way that integrates. It's like people don't have anything to look up to. We've felt that for a long time. And I think that's more because we don't feel in touch with it. Things are there. There's inspiring things happening all the time. And if we can be part of bringing a little bit of that to the mainstream, it's interesting, That's my interest with Cadence. And it's, I think, in scripts and streaming stuff is a way to at least try.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'm glad we were able to meet you. Thank you for contacting me, because you have opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And what have you. It's exciting. It's exciting.
It is. It is. I mean, we spent our lives. You and I have spent our lives this way in music, and that's really something. That's an expert. You become. It's. I don't like words that separate people, like expert and stuff. I don't like those words, but we become. I don't know what it is, but it's something that society needs.
Yeah.
We can't see it always as artists because we're dealing in the now, paying rent.
I know. Well, this was really fascinating. And thank you so much for giving us some time here in the Jazz Room in New York City at Studio 952. Now we have one more tune. It's called Art Baron Improv. Yes.
Okay, so this was from February 2021? No, it was before COVID, right before. It was the last time, February, right before COVID. I say that because that was kind of our last time in New York until just this April. Art Baron on trombone, Bernard Purdy on drums. Adam couldn't be there that night, so it was Ken. Oh my goodness, he's gonna kill me. What's his name? Big eyebrows. Looks like I shouldn't say what he looks like. I'll get in so much trouble. Anyway, fantastic bass player. And when we play, I don't know if this is interesting or not, but we don't ever talk about what we're going to do.
Just do it.
We just play.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do make a set list though, and the set list would say Joan starts.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
And so then you would start and you'd give us an idea of where to go for that piece.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
It works.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in the Jazz Room.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
So we're going to take it out with Art Baron Improv. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
We've come to the end of another show. Thank you for spending time here with us in the Jazz Room. Learn more about Cadence Magazine Online at cadencejazzworld.com. You can find news about the Jazz Room on Twitter at Ms. Jazz Kitty or on the Jazz Room page of my website, joanwatsonjones.com. Until next time, you've been in the Jazz Room. I'm your host, Joan Watson Jones.
The Jazz Room is distributed by M the Media Project and SM Graves Associates. Learn more at smgravesassociates.com.
Thank you, Art Barron on trombone.